and welcome back to Adventures with Ariel. The Disney princess has been around since the very first Disney movie was released in 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. It was not only the first Disney film, but the first feature-length animated film. Believe it or not, no one thought that the film would succeed. It was a huge financial risk for Disney, and the project was nicknamed Disney's Folly. This most definitely proved not to be the case, as Snow White and the Seven Dwarves went on to sell 109 million tickets and became an instant classic. Little did Walt know that the face of the film would become the first in a line of heroic beauties who today generate billions of dollars in sales. So how did the Disney princesses take over Girl World? Keep watching to find out. In 1950, Disney's Cinderella was released and produced yet another iconic princess. Arguably the most well-known amongst all Disney princesses, she would later be gifted with her very own castle at the Magic Kingdom. Sleeping Beauty was released in 1959 and rounded out what is now known as the first generation of Disney princesses. The film was praised for its gorgeous animation and introduced the world to Princess Aurora, but audiences and critics didn't love it as much as previous Disney fairy tales, and the company posted its first loss since the 1940s. Believe it or not, Disney would not produce another princess film for 30 years. And that brings us to the modern era of the Disney princess. You know the type, the spunky, headstrong heroine who has other dreams beyond that of finding Prince Charming. This began with 1989's The Little Mermaid and continued well throughout the 1990s with films like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, and Mulan. And this brings us to the year 2000, the year that Disney princesses became a thing. Let me explain. In 1999, former Nike executive Andy Mooney was appointed chairman of Disney Consumer Products. Shortly after joining the team, Mooney would attend his first Disney on Ice show, where he noticed that several little girls attending the show were dressed up as princesses, but not Disney princesses. On this revelation, Mooney said, quote, "They weren't even Disney products. They were generic princess products they'd appended to a Halloween costume." And the light bulb went off. A day after attending the show, Mooney encouraged the Walt Disney Company to commence work on a legitimate Disney princess franchise. Walt's nephew, Roy Disney, objected to the creation of the Disney Princess line, as the company had long avoided mingling characters from its classic fairy tales and other narratives, worrying that it would weaken the individual mythologies. Nonetheless, Mooney went forward with his idea, and introduced a princess lineup consisting of Snow White, Cinderella, Aurora, Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Pocahontas, Mulan, and Tinkerbell, who would eventually be kicked out of the lineup, as it was decided that a fairy didn't exactly fit the princess brand. So what exactly qualifies a character as being an official Disney princess? Well, it's not just being royal. Mulan's inclusion is evidence of that. My impression is that she must be human or human-ish, must be a good role model, and must be a female lead in a Disney animated film that has experienced financial success, which is why we don't see the inclusion of these guys. And while Elanwe of the Black Cauldron and Kida of Atlantis are technically more royal than Mulan, their movies were box office duds. I doubt many young girls today would even know who these ladies are. The Disney Princess line would be the first time that Disney characters were marketed in a separate franchise to their original films. But Mooney was still able to keep in line with Roy's wishes of keeping the princesses' mythologies distinct. He did this by enforcing the rule that the princesses should never make eye contact with each other when featured on marketing advertisements. And thus, with very little marketing and no focus group testing, the Disney Princess franchise was launched, creating numerous toys, costumes, dancewear, snack packs, home accessories, books, DVDs, MP3 players, the list goes on. With this abundance of new products, princesses weren't just something for girls to love, they were something to become. In the first 7 years of the Disney Princess line, Disney sales went from $300 million to $4 billion. By the year 2008, there were 25,000 princess products, and the brand was expanding beyond young girls. We're talking sleepwear, houseware, makeup, credit cards, and princess wedding dresses with matching jewelry and tiaras. Needless to say, the Disney Princess franchise had become unstoppable, and many more princesses would be added to the lineup as more fairy tales were released. But the phrase hasn't been without its critics. Psychologists have their own name for it: princess culture, which refers to the effect that society's love for idealized princesses has on children. One of the culture's biggest critics is Peggy Orenstein, who in 2011 released her New York Times bestseller, Cinderella Ate My Daughter. The book showcases research that an excess of princess play may not be good for little girls' psyches.
A $4 billion a year industry that's aimed at little girls, that's telling them not just to play princess at home now and again, but they are supposed to be a princess and consider themselves to be a princess every day, all the time, 365 days a year, 24/7. That has cannibalized all other form of play.
Recently, Disney has decided to take responsibility for the historical trend it helped create by branding their princesses to show not only their beauty, but their strength. Now, I know what you're thinking. The modern princesses are strong and are arguably great role models for young girls. Well, unfortunately, this hasn't always been the franchise's focus. For example, a few years back, the vast majority of the Disney princess dolls focused on beauty and glamour above all else. Take the secret hero Mulan doll. She originally came dressed like a Chinese warrior, fully equipped with a sword, staff, and scroll to represent Mulan's warrior side. But alas, the Mulan dolls Mattel offered featured only the overtly feminine pink dress Mulan wore to the matchmakers to demonstrate her viability as a prospective bride. You see the problem here. So in 2015, Disney decided to leave their longtime retail partner Mattel for Hasbro. And you can see that there's a notable difference in the Hasbro dolls. Not only are they larger and rounder, but they're much more like their animated movie counterparts and less like the Barbie-esque fashion dolls Mattel was producing. And interestingly enough, other products, such as the Play-Doh Prettiest Princess Castle, are more interactive than the Mattel products were, being that they encourage more active and imaginative play. 2015 was also the year that Disney announced that it would be collaborating with Girl Up, a foundation that works with the UN to support girls globally, to create their Dream Big Princess campaign. There, Regal isn't defined by having long, flowing hair or finding a prince charming. Instead, the images, text, and marketing of the campaign encourages its audience to stay true to themselves, regardless of societal expectations. Perhaps what's most interesting about the Disney Princess brand is that little advertising or marketing is done. The products seem to sell themselves. I can't think of too many other companies that would be able to sell billions upon billions worth of products with as little advertising as Disney uses. But you have to remember that while the Disney Princess brand has been around for 20 years, it's technically been in development since 1937. Whether you're 2 or 90, you're likely going to have some sort of emotional connection to the princesses. There's no doubt that Disney will continue to entertain audiences for decades to come, and that there are more plans to keep expanding their Disney Princess line. It's too profitable not to. And between the switch to Hasbro's more interactive princess products and the recent inclusion of more diverse princesses in their lineup, Disney is showing signs that it can evolve its most lucrative franchise to meet the demands of a changing society. So what do y'all think about what Disney is doing with its princess franchise? Do you think that it's changing for the better? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, as well as hit the subscribe button down below for new Disney content every single week. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a magical day.